This Philly talk with Philly Mike. Talking sixes in the bird gang, that's our life. Competition, we ain't scared, yeah, that's what we like. Win or lose, you know we showing up and we gon' fight. You see we strive for the sky every day that go by. And every single week we screaming fly, eagles fly. This is Philly talk with Philly Mike, yeah. This is Philly talk with Philly Mike, yeah.
What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, host of the Philly Talk podcast. But today we ain't about that life. We about Goat Talk, the podcast, the playoff edition. And I
Yes,
know y'all
sir.
probably thinking, why are we rushing to the playoffs? We still got week 18. Do we really? Is that more for Dallas or is it for the Eagles? Because we just trying to get our own situation right with the C19 people, whether it's a scam to, better protect our players throughout the playoffs, or some people are really dealing with some things. Let them get well, but we about to talk about it all. What's going on, LB?
What's good? What's good? Shout out to you, man. What's up, everybody in the chat? You know what I mean? Goat Talk Playoff Edition. It's the playoff edition because we already clinched. I mean, it is what it is. We're just sitting back right now.
Exactly. So, like I said, soft week. There is some rumors floating around because we got that Alabama offense, and what I mean by that, number one wide receiver, Alabama stud, and just because Jalen Hurts broke some records in Oklahoma, we can't forget his roots, as we like to say on this channel, where he won a national championship in 2018 with Alabama, and so reports came out from Atlanta that Calvin Ridley, a guy who left the Atlanta Falcons early in the season, is thinking about a fresh start. Maybe not just through him, but the organization could possibly want to move on too, because maybe they feel some type of way how it went down, even though as long as it's legit, him and his headspace, uh, they just want to get something for him, part their mutual ways. LB, what's your take on just his style of play with Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts? And just also, how do you feel about giving something up for a guy in that type of headspace? Do you think he can overcome it? And what's your general thoughts on that?
So, as far as the headspace go, I think it's a perfect fit. He would have a mentor like Lane Johnson, who's been around the block a very, so many years in this league, and he's been a top player at his position, who will be able to kind of guide him and mentor him, on the mental health aspect of the things that he might be dealing with, whether it be like financial struggles, whatever the case may be. Because when you're in that position, it could be family, it could be finances, it could just be, pressures of the game. And Lane, who's better to have in your corner than Lane Johnson? So I'm okay with him coming, as far as that's concerned. Now, I do kind of struggle with, giving up a first round pick for him. You know what I mean? Because how many years are we going to spend a first round pick on a wide receiver? You know what I mean? Just coming from that angle of it is just like another first round pick for a wide receiver. But this is Calvin Ridley. He's a proven wide receiver. You know what I mean? Right now, if he was to come onto the roster today, he's the best wide receiver on the roster. And we talked about bringing in a veteran presence. Now, I like this because these guys are familiar with each other. You know what I mean? You got Landon Dickerson. You got all of these guys and all this prestige and all of these guys who came out of college already ready to play. Look what happened when Joe Burrow got his boy. You know what I mean? Look what's happening over there with Jamar Chase. I mean, I like it, man. If you're going to do it, man, it's sending a message across the league that, we believe in Jalen Hurts and you're going to have to guard us. It's sending a clear message if you do something like that. I like the idea of it.
Yeah, I agree. And that is a perfect start to your soliloquy. Lane Johnson, I mean, he physically went through it and overcame it. So any, big brother talk, there's nobody better in the NFL than Lane. Plus, I think just having guys close to you like a Jalen Hurts and a Devontae Smith, who you saw week one, as soon as the game was over, they ran to get that Alabama pitcher. You might be able to open up a little bit more to these type of guys, right? Jalen is a lead by example type of player, made the playoffs. Who knows what was all going through Calvin Ridley's head, but he's a top 10 receiver if healthy and all good. So, as you said, dang, another first round pick, 3 first round picks invested in a wide receiver. This is a guaranteed top 10 guy.
Yeah.
The other two would definitely have to go to defense, but I agree. Now I would try to hit up Atlanta with some, you know what I mean? We don't know if he's going to do that again because there is a gamble that he comes back and he just really can't get his head into the NFL anymore. And so you are gambling with that. So try to lower it up. But that's that's interesting to say the least, because we made the playoffs. We got money, we got assets, and he got brothers on his team.
Yeah.
So first thing that was said is, here go the Eagles, think they're gonna get every free agent or every trade. This is legit. It's real, for the simple fact that Alabama boys stick together. And as you saw, Devontae with Henry Ruggs, the connection just runs deep. And so when you are asking for a trade, you got to go to the big spenders, the people with cap, and the people that fit his situation. And that just screams Philadelphia. So
I think Atlanta would take a second round pick for him. Honestly, I think Atlanta would definitely take a second round pick. They need to rebuild. They got a lot of stuff going on in their building. I think a first could be a little extreme, but you got 3 first round picks. I mean, we're in the perfect position actually to to pry anybody away who don't want to be where they're at. We got the picks to do it. You know what I mean? And now that we all can kind of agree that a quarterback is off the table, using those picks for a quarterback, we all can kind of take a sigh of relief, and you can start looking at linebackers that are available who don't like the situation that they're in. You can do a lot of things with 3 first round picks, and I'm not mad at all if one of them is Calvin Ridley.
correct, because you got to think, you hear first round pick, we still got to see where it falls. But if you're giving a pick in the 20th or the 19th or the 20 something for Ridley, you got to just look at the value. We got a guy in Jalen Rager around the 20s, right? Do you want to maybe miss on that when you got a stud in Calvin Ridley? But that's for the future. That's
Yeah.
what people we still got a lot of now to talk about, but that is the hot topic. So I wanted to get that out there. So Cowboys, they look like they got something to play for, in a sense of that they can move up a spot or two, try to kind of handpick their opponent. They know who they got now if everything settles the way it is. Do you really believe, now Jerry Jones said on his talk show early in the week that they are going to play starters. Do you believe that they play all of them? And what is your take on our situation?
I think they play all of the starters. I think Dallas plays all of the starters as long as they need them to win. Now, if they jump out to like a 21-point lead, then they start reeling guys back and pulling guys back if they think they got the game in hand. But I just if I'm Dallas, honestly, I'm benching my guys. I mean, what difference does it really make? You're not going to get a bye. What are you trying to handpick? Who are you afraid of? You know what I mean? If it comes down to if you're going to play at home or not, that might make a difference. But who you really running from? You know what I mean? Like it's Dallas, man. When this time of the year comes around for the Dallas Cowboys, they got to start being all scientific and trying to find the path of least resistance. They're not ready to put in this work, man. Dallas out of here in the first round anyway. I truly believe that. So, I'm not going to, who cares what they really do, but I'm sitting my guys. If I already clinched and I don't have that first seed, I'm sitting my guys. The only teams in the NFC that I think that really got something to play for is probably the 49ers and the Rams game. That comes down to it because you could flip from, winning the division. So that makes sense. You know what I mean? You would get a home game in the first round. So I think the Rams and the Cardinals actually have to play. Dallas, what are they really playing for? They're going to
Correct.
win a division.
Yeah. I thought it was, again, this was early in the week. They're coming off a loss to the Cardinals, a team that they're kind of slotted to play. So I think Jerry Jones is blowing a little bit of a hot smoke.
Mhm.
I don't see the need for it. And when you look at the Eagles, there's always that, do you sit them and then the rust factor comes in, or the, lost momentum because we are, 7 out of the last 9, blah, 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 blah. But then the injury factor far overweighs anything. Is there anybody that you want in the starter, from the starters, to start the game, get some first quarter reps, second quarter, and then maybe tail off depending how the game's going? I know you talked about Devontae getting that record, but
Mhm.
what is your take on just some of the defensive players, because we're not that deep defensively? Like, you might have to throw guys in here and there unless you just want to go, you know, beings that we do have a certain amount of players on C19 list. Maybe you can get deep into your practice squad. Like, there's only so far you can go with, the cornerback position and linebacker position, defensive end. We already have so many people hurt. Like, we're sending Kerrigan out there. We sending Teron Jackson. You still might get Milton Williams going out there. Who, you might have a shade of sweat once in a while. Like, what is your take on that?
I'm not starting anybody. I'm not starting any seasoned veteran that holds an important role for us on the defensive side of the ball. I'm not starting Rodney McLeod. I'm not starting Darius Slay. I'm not starting Fletcher Cox. Shit, I might not even be starting Alex Singleton because you're so thin at linebacker. You need all hands on deck. I'm not starting T.J. Edwards. I'm not starting Sweat or Barnett. You need those guys. You know what I mean? This is an opportunity for guys like Zach McPherson and some of the guys, some of the depth guys on the defensive side of the ball, to get some experience. You know what I mean? Technically, we're not playing for anything, but at the end of the day, you never know if you might have to come in for this playoff game. You never know what can happen. So I'm playing a lot of guys who didn't play this much. I'm not playing anybody, I'm not playing anybody that's a veteran and that's a depth guy. I will say this. I might start the entire wide receiver core. I might start Devontae Smith, Rager, Quez Watkins. I might start all of those guys, but I might only let them play like the first half. Like those guys, I believe, need to stay as warm as possible because the drops have plagued us. You know what I mean? I want those guys to stay in rhythm. I am not starting Jalen Hurts. I need Jalen Hurts to be able to run as much as he has an open lane because that's a dimension of the game, that we take, pride in. I'm not starting Boston Scott or Jordan Howard. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. I'm giving Gainwell a lot of those snaps. I mean, we got to, a lot of people have this take on this, though, Mike. A lot of people are saying, well, we're not that good. The rest are starters. What are you talking about? We're a playoff team. You know what I mean? We're a playoff team. It don't make sense to have Kelsey and Lane Johnson out there. Let's be for real. We need those guys for this stretch. So, yeah, man, it's going to be a bunch of rookies and practice squad guys out there. And, I'll give the wide receiver core, the first half, especially Devontae, to give him a chance at that record because you only get one chance.
Yep. Do not make your chance to blow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And you see us starting to make them little moves. Shout out to Brand Pie out with the $2 super chat. Yo, Mike and LB, what's up, y'all? What's going
good,
on,
bro?
Got the Devontae Smith picture, trying to get that record. But you see us moving Keyshawn Johnson, the young player, not the old one, off the C19 list. You got Andre Chachere. You got a couple of these guys who are going to just come in and fill some spots. You might, Kavon Wallace, time to get some playing time. Just these guys who are fringe guys. They might come in for a little bit. Josiah Scott did play some snaps for the Philadelphia Eagles starters once in a while. Maybe some nickel and dime plays, but it's going to be that type of player. And of course, Minshew, let him get some good tape on there. And like I said, this is going to be if we could take care of Dallas, cool. But it's time to talk playoffs. Now, you have been on record saying you don't care who we play. However, there's always got to be someone in mind. Like, you know what? I think we match up better against this team. Is there anybody?
Yeah, I think the perfect matchup for us is the Cardinals. The perfect matchup. You know what I mean? Like Dallas, we just don't do well in Jerry World. For some reason, we just don't do well in that stadium, but I'm not shying away from that either. Kyler Murray and Dak Prescott have probably been the most subpar quarterbacks that are going to the playoffs out of the conference. They've been so up and down the last 5-6 weeks. You know what I mean? I would love to play those guys. Dak Prescott hasn't been that great the last 6 weeks, and Kyler Murray, basically let the division get away from him. So, I'm not really, worried about those guys. Now, when you're talking about Aaron Rodgers kind of scares me. Matthew Stafford really doesn't scare me, though. I don't know why. He just doesn't scare me. And McVay has a tendency to overthink the game. Listen, he's 0-2 against us. So, you know what I mean? I'm not going to really be afraid of that either. Now, Tom Brady gets emotional when he plays us. He wants to blow our heads off every time. So I'll take Tom Brady too. You're right. I just don't fear none of these guys right now. They should fear us.
Yeah, especially, well, Tampa's still a little warm and, Jerry World is inside, but, the cold welcomes the running game, right? It definitely welcomes the running game, and we'll see when we can get an outside cold matchup. But yeah, man, Kyler Murray, if you're watching that Dallas versus Cardinals game, right? Kyler Murray kind of beat Dallas with his legs, right? He was doing the things that you see Jalen Hurts do that he gets criticized for. Man, you won that game with your legs. He pulled it off with his legs. Now, I know D-Hop's not there, and he might be back. I don't even know his status, but you're right. Ever since Kyler Murray came back from that injury, I had him in fantasy. I was balling in the beginning, not in our league, but he was letting me down week after week. And the same with Dak Prescott. They're still falling away from the run game. And if it's not Dak, it's the receivers. If it's not the receivers, it's Dak. So that's going to be
They've all shown flaws. Everybody has shown a flaw in this playoff bracket in our conference, probably except Green Bay. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Everybody else has shown a flaw. When you look at the Bucks, they were shut out by the Saints. I don't did Jameis Winston even play in that game? They almost lost to the Jets. You know what I mean? And they're dealing with a whole debacle at the end of the season. This ain't the best time to be dealing with this Antonio Brown situation. So are they really focused? They just released Antonio Brown today. You know what I mean?
Yep.
This is a team who got all type of issues. It's a mess over there right now. So, I look at those guys and they got an aging quarterback. They down Antonio Brown, but they got all the weapons in the world still. It's still Tom Brady over there. But if I had to put my money on a matchup that I really, really feel comfortable about, it's definitely the Cardinals. The Cardinals, we can beat the Cardinals. Hands down, we can beat the Cardinals in the first round.
There you go. And I'm not sure who the Cardinals play this week, but like you said, the Rams are playing the Niners, which is an important matchup for the Niners staying in the playoffs. The Rams possibly losing home field, and same with the Cardinals trying to get home field. We can't play wild card versus wild card. So if we want the Cardinals, we need the Cardinals to win and the Rams to lose. However, getting on that Tom Brady thing, I mean, it will be. Again, you see Tom Brady line up against you in the playoff game, you're just going to think, wow, you know what he's done. But as you said, the AB thing, Chris Godwin's already out for the year. It's really only a hampering Mike Evans. Gronk is still Gronk, but he's older. They don't got Leonard Fournette. I don't know when he comes back, but Rojo's not running the ball right. Their D-line is good, but their linebackers are beat up too. Everybody, and the thing is this, see, everybody low-key having problems, and people just think that the Eagles are a problem and the fact that we don't belong there. And I do believe teams are going to come in. Nobody sleeps on a playoff team. But, coming in at whatever we are, 9-8, 10-7, whatever, the first opponent we play better come to play because the Eagles run game is going to carry him. And I don't think Nick Sirianni is going to get cute in the playoffs. I think he's going to fall on what we do best, and that's the offensive line, running with the running backs and Jalen Hurts. Speaking of Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni and their first postseason action, what do you expect their level and intensity just to be in their opener, and just how you think they're going to respond to it?
Well, as far as Jalen Hurts goes, Jalen Hurts is a guy who, I'm on record saying this about him. He's a bright lights guy. You know what I mean? When the moment is the biggest, I think Jalen Hurts is the most dangerous guy on the field, for real, for real. He is not going to go off that field in the situation to where the game on the line and he throwing a pick. Now if he like in the Giants game, he threw them picks early, but he started throwing dimes when the game was on the line. I think the closer it gets to, this type of atmosphere, the specialness of Jalen Hurts comes out. He performs in these big moments. Now that's college. Granted, that's college, but you had to do that down the stretch as well. A bunch of division opponents. You had to win these games to be to be in this position, much like what Carson Wentz did in 2019. But I will say this, man, Nick Sirianni, he has to stick to what got him here. He could be a bit of a wild card because he's never been in this position. You know what I mean? He's never coached, as a head coach in a playoff game. He got to do what he got to do, man. But Nick Sirianni has been calling really, really good plays like the last 8 weeks. A lot of people are questioning Nick Sirianni's play calling. Oh, he decided to run 3 times on this drive. What was that? I think it might have been the Washington game. He opened the game with like 3 straight running plays, but it was 2 drops on the drive. So are those bad plays or is that poor execution? You know what I mean? I just think Nick Sirianni really been spot on and picking when to pass and picking when to run the last, 4 or 5 weeks. So, I got the utmost confidence in these guys, man. I just don't want I just don't think the moment will be too big for them at all. I think they believe in themselves. Listen, you had to believe in yourself to come from under 2-5 to be in this position. You got to block out the noise to do that. I think, the growth will really show in this playoff game, win, lose, or draw. You know what I mean? They're going to leave it all on the field, regardless.
Yeah, man, the definition of blocking out the noise, because at 2-5 with a fan base like us, we were coming for everybody, I mean? And although we supported them and it was tough love, you have a large portion of the fan base that just was trying to get rid of everybody. Yeah. There's still somebody on this roster, on this coaching staff, that people are still want to get rid of. Although the stats are pointing in a way of, holy crap, this is a real stat too. Since the Raiders game, which is early. And this is not the whole game because we know that his first quarters are his worst quarters when we talk about Jonathan Gannon. But since the Raiders game, in the second half of football games, Jonathan Gannon has been the best coordinator in the NFC.
Damn. And that's crazy. Think about how many games though, Mike, where the opposition didn't score in the second half. That's happened a few times this year. You know what I mean? And it's a real stat, but but listen, I think I know what's really happening though. The offense is dominating time of possession. So the defense isn't even on the field that much. You know what I mean? The offense is executing at a high clip with the run, with the passes. It's just all coming together offensively in a way. And, we're putting up 40, 30 points. Like, we're demoralizing teams. So when they finally do get back on the field, they got to pass because they down. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I feel like, it's a combination of a lot of things, but I'm not going to sneeze at some of them stats, man. I'm a stats guy. The stats are real. You know what I mean? We've been holding teams. Washington didn't score in the second half. You know what I mean? It was rocky in the beginning of the game. So I'm going to put some respect on the stats, but every quarterback that's in the playoffs is a guy that Gannon has respected this offseason, or he will respect in the playoffs. So if we lose this game, I don't think it'll be because of the offense. I think it'll be because the defense just didn't do anything different. They just went out there and kept playing that zone, having guys drop back 5, 6, 7 yards off of coverage, having guys find out. Dude looked like Joe Theismann in the first half of the game.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, he was cooking. I was there live. I couldn't believe it. it, Mike. I'm like, bro, he can't even throw incomplete pass. You know what I mean? If you game plan against Sirianni and you just attack the zone and attack the soft spot of the zone, it's always somebody open. Yeah. So, I mean, listen, man, if he go out there and stink it up, he might got to go get his wish and be a head coach somewhere next year.
Yeah, that's going to be hard then after that. But yeah, I do think he's the weakest link in this playoff run. And again, the stats, you can always break it down with context as well. And as you said, our offense is kicking up late in the second quarter, early third, which puts less pressure on our defense and all that stuff. However, part of the reason he's the best second half D coordinator, because I don't know what his stats are in the first half, but it can't be good, because my biggest thing with Gannon is he takes too long to adjust. Like, after he gets beat by something, he's like, go ahead and try it again. And then he gets beat by a game, like, one more time. All right, now I know I can't play it. I switch it. Now, our opponents have been softer. That all plays into it, right? You could say for the offense, the defense. You could say for a lot of things, right? But our schedule's our schedule, and it is what it is. We are not going to be playing against any cupcake quarterbacks. And when the defense started turning up, I still kept in the back of my head, and I said on almost every show, yes, it's looking good. I can't knock it because this is all we got to go off, but we will see a playoff quarterback. And that's when I'm really going to be able to understand what Gannon is doing, because even in this softer schedule, we've seen him playing Slay and Nelson up a little bit. We've seen him doing some things with Singleton. Look at Jannard Avery blitzing up in the middle of the thing. So we've seen these, and it worked in the second half against the likes of Jake Fromm from State Farm, Tyler Heineke, Garrett Gilbert, Jared Goff, Teddy Bridgewater. So now it's time to do it against a playoff team. But I do agree, although the stats are what is making him being even thought of as a head coach candidate potential, whatever, because the NFL is a stat-driven league, he's still, to me, the weakest link. And you got to clean up weak links in the playoffs, because as people want to say there's no bad teams in the playoffs, well, they got to start thinking that we're also not a bad team because we made it to the playoffs.
I agree with that, wholeheartedly. At the same time, though, he's a weak link, but we just can't keep spotting guys, 10 points a game. You can't do that in the playoffs. Nah. You know what I mean? And I don't even know who to blame, because Gannon is giving up the 10 points. We spotting 10 points, but the offense has had the ball, and the offense hasn't clicked early as well. So, we kind of take too long to get going, and that could be a concern in the playoffs as well. Like, these first 15 scripted plays, they might have to change because they're not resulting in much. Now, I will say this. On the first drive against Washington, we were in field goal range. I was screaming from the stands to take the 3 points. He went forward on the fourth and 1. In the playoffs, you just got to take your points. You got to take your points. If you got a chance to be up 3-0, take it.
You didn't tell Doug Peterson that in the Super Bowl.
No, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. But if you got a chance to be up 3-zip in the playoff game, you got to take that
Yeah.
because you might get a 3 and out, and that 3-zip turns to 10-zip. You got to take opportunities like that. You know what I mean? I understand going for it. I understand what the analytics might say, but come on, bro. Analytics say a lot of stuff. They say go for it right there. Did you get it? The analytics was wrong. Kick it with
Yeah.
one of the hottest kickers in the game. Go up 3-zip. It's nothing wrong with a 3-zip lead. You gotta be kidding me.
Unless, yeah. Especially if you got the ball first, right? Because the worst thing is getting the ball first, driving down the field, seeing a good drive, and letting it go to absolute waste, right?
Yeah.
Absolute waste. Because as you get farther in the quarter, that's when you got to start making more analytical, maybe. But it's again, it got to be a gut feeling too. You can make them choices later in the game because every choice is more important, it's more valuable because
Hmm.
you have less time to make up mistakes. But we gotta start faster. I mean, it's been like 5 games where we've been just being like, you know what I mean? It's all good. We gonna get it done, you know? And
Yeah,
honestly,
in a field goal that will have you up 3 points is a win for the offense. That drive resulted in points. It
anytime, yeah.
ended in points. I mean, it's not rocket science, man. I know you
Yeah.
think you can get the 1 yard every time, but everybody know we're the number one rushing team in the league. If you ain't about to surprise the defense with a mean play action or bootleg, you know what I mean, to get them off, you know what I mean. If you running it, you playing into their hands. Everybody knows that we're going to run the ball in situations like that via QB sneak, or when you see Jordan Howard out there, everybody know what it is. So
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man, like have a surprise up your sleeve.
Yeah,
Throw it for once
that's when you
in that
have Howard and
situation.
Sanders in the backfield too. You fake it to the bull man and get it a little toss to Sanders, right? Or blah blah blah. But look, it's hard to say no to a 4th and 1 when you got 650-pound deadlift Jalen Hurts, who, as you saw that other 4th and 1, he
Hmm.
be picking up 3 yards per clip on that QB sneak.
Yeah,
Again, you got Landon Dickerson to the left of Kelsey. You got even Herbig's a big dude, and then you got Hurts. So it is tough. The Eagles always been good at quarterback sneaks, but I agree. Early in the game, you got to set the tempo, let them know that we're here, that we're not too excited, that we belong. Kick the points because that means you believe in your defense. You don't kick the points. You know what you're saying. You know what Darius Slay thinks. You know what JG thinks. He's like, boom. They don't believe in us. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because they got to go for it. Real quick, shout out to Philly Jetty with the $2 super chat. I feel like we could beat any team, and that is the feeling all Philly fans should feel
yeah.
because we wore the masks for a whole
Hmm.
year. We wore the masks every single round in a playoff series where we were underdogs. And although that team was really good, nobody believed in Foles. I will say he had videos, he did. But I wasn't doing YouTube at that time, and I was nervous. I was nervous.
No,
Um,
bro. I knew what it was, bro. I knew what it was. Now I'm not gonna lie and make it seem like I got that same feeling because Foles is Foles and Hurts is Hurts.
yeah.
Obviously I know the difference between the two, but Jalen Hurts gives you way more than a puncher's chance. This weird notion that people are saying this now. This is the kicker, Mike. This is the one for me. Oh, I'm gonna wait to see what he do in the playoffs, bro. The playoffs ain't guaranteed every year.
Yeah, right.
What the hell you judging this our first playoff appearance on? You gonna wait to see what he do in the playoffs? A lot of people never get to the playoffs. Ask Stafford. He had to relocate to get to the playoffs. You know what I'm
Correct.
saying? That just don't happen every year. So now we've moved the goalpost so many times, and we start judging the success of this team in so many weird ways. Now it's like if he don't win this playoff game, he ain't the guy, bro. He's solidified for next year.
Look,
Bottom
look,
line,
look at Joe Burrows, right? Balling, right? And I'm not comparing
balling.
Hurts to Burrows. What I am doing is saying, what if Cincinnati don't make the playoffs? Then our Bengals
Mm,
fans are someone going to say, well, we didn't get to see what Joe Burrows did in the playoffs, so he must not be that. You know what I mean? So playoffs don't come for some of the best quarterbacks in the league. Stafford is amongst one of the best passers in the game. He's always around that 4 or 5,000. He's a gunslinger. Didn't have the team around him.
mhm.
He's finally getting to the playoffs, which could play into. He's getting a little pick happy too. I mean, there's things like you said earlier for people just getting into here. Shout out to everybody in the building, almost 300. Hit that like button, subscribe if you are new. LBN Philly Mike.
Yes,
Shout out
sir.
to
Yes,
Marcus
sir.
Kane with the $5 super chat. The goat, you already know. Appreciate you. But everybody has something that you're just like Bucks are going through a bunch of breakups and some
Yep.
injuries. Matthew Stafford throwing picks to the Ravens, and you normally think the Ravens has a good defense, but guess what? This year they lost how many cornerbacks? They got fifth and sixth string cornerbacks out there that Matthew Stafford was throwing picks to. Fifth and sixth.
And to add, Burrow just cooked them for 525. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Burrow just cooked them. Maybe they
Huntley,
stepped up after Burrow cooked them, but my God.
Jason Huntley or James Huntley, I forgot his
Mhm.
name. He almost brought him back. They beat the Baltimore Ravens down Lamar, down a bunch of players by one. All that got to be in consideration. Look, the Rams been faltering a little bit. The Cardinals have been sputtering since Hopkins not being there and Murray's injury. And you got Brady in the drama, even though Brady's still one of them guys who can reel people in. He's father time. And then you got, like I said, I think the only one that's sitting on top, and they got the bye week anyways, is the Green Bay Packers, who's just, Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers.
I like the teams in the playoffs in this sense. I think this is also in our favor. It's not too many dink and dunk guys. And dink and dunk guys hurt us because they found the hole in the zone. These
But
are a
they're
lot of
smart
guys that's
guys.
going to right, exactly.
So they're going to dig and dunk when we loud.
You're probably right about that. But Stafford takes shots.
He's
You
the
know what
one.
I mean?
He's the one who's going to refuse to. He's going to be like,
Right.
I don't know about dinking and dunking.
Right. He takes shots. Kyler Murray takes shots from time to time too.
Yeah.
So, Dak Prescott will dink and dunk as long as it gets him a victory.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm liking how this is lining up, man. So right now, where are we? Who are we lined up with right now? If everything stays the same.
If everything stays the same, we got the Rams right now.
Okay, I like that.
I know. But if
I like that,
it's really going to come down to, I believe it's going to come down to the Rams or the Bucks. I really do. I think the Rams are going to beat the Niners.
But see, I will say this about the Rams, though. They might have the scariest defense for our group of guys.
Yeah,
because Ramsey is capable of taking Devontae Smith out of the game. Shit, we're capable of taking him out of the game. It's been some games that he's disappeared in. You know what I mean? You still got Aaron Donald. You know what I mean? You got Von Miller. We got the best offensive line in the league, but that defensive line has guys that are capable of wrecking the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's the scariest matchup for us from a defensive perspective. I think Hurts will be able to take advantage of the Bucs defense. I think Hurts will be able to take advantage of the Cardinals defense. Dallas, Micah Parsons, they're going to use him in interesting ways. But I think Hurts wants to get back against them. So I feel like that'll be in our favor as well too. So I just need to know who we playing so we can line these dudes up.
Facts. And the Cardinals play a lot of man defense. They do. And I think when you got man against Devontae, he's putting in work. And I do believe that's where Jalen Hurts can say, you know what? It's mano y mano. He'll give the 50-50 ball to Goddard, Quez, or Smith. You've seen it throughout this year, especially the second half. He threw Patrick Surtain 101. Go ahead and get it, Smith. Quez Watkins last week 1-on-1 with somebody. Go get it, Quez. Dallas Goedert, Moss, two guys. So you show him man coverage. I think we can beat man. The Dallas man coverage early in the season kind of hurt us because of how Micah Parsons was used. And then Trevon Diggs got a couple, give me that. But it is what it is. But real quick, before we get to that, because I do want to ask you one more thing. Knight Rider with the $5 super chat. What's good, fellas? The Bucs is food, bro. For real, for real.
I agree.
Hey, they're on the menu.
Definitely on the menu.
They definitely are. Shout out to Bird Gang 31 with the 199 super chat.
Bird
Salute
Gang,
to two Eagle Goats. Appreciate you. Eagles content creator right there. Go check them out. You know what I mean? And then shout out to Carlos R with the $5 super chat. Salute. Listen, we're like a flower with growth in the soil. I'm buying a flower pot to the playoff, boys. Yes, listen. Put the seed in right now. They got a week to prepare. You'll see it sprout up a little bit when we take care of the Rams. Sprout up a little bit more when we take care. Nah, we got to take care of one team. That's about it for now. We got one more super chat. Eric Gallagher, channel member in the building. If the Cards beat Seattle, they will be in the 2 seat. Now, see, I'm not sure about that. You telling me that or asking me that?
If the Cards beat Seattle, they will be in the 2 seat. I think he's telling us that.
Because the 2 right now is
no that I don't think they'll be in the 2. I think the Rams still got to lose.
Yeah.
I don't know because they got a tiebreaker. They split, so I don't know how that works.
Oh yeah, you know what? It's. I
You
think
know
it's
what? They
different this
might be
year.
because they might have the better divisional record by beating those guys.
They might.
Who knows?
We just trying to take care of our food.
Right.
I'm not worried about what these guys eat. And I'm not looking down the lunch table like, dang, that look good over there. My plate look pretty good right now. I'm gonna leave it be. Yeah, pack me all the snacks. When it comes to all right, so we talked about Jalen Hurts and the offense, right? You said how we match up against the Bucks and blah 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 blah. Let's talk about our defense, right? So each quarterback is each quarterback, but let's talk about weapons the quarterback has. How do you feel if we're playing the Rams, right? And you got Slay, Nelson, Maddox, our secondary, and then you got Cooper Cup, you got Odell Beckham Jr. You got to get Slay on Cooper Cup, right? Even though he likes to play in the slot, he likes to move around. He been eating.
So you gonna make Slay Chase Cooper?
I want to, if he goes into the slot a lot, I would say Matt. I would like to see how Maddox fares. But if Maddox getting cooked, that's an adjustment you got to make quickly.
It's so crazy, man. They gonna move them guys around so much.
Yeah, they are. That's what McVay does too much, man. It's like you just got to look around a lot.
I'm gonna leave Slay on old. It's so hard, bro. That's a tough one, bro. That's a good goddamn question, Mike. I ain't gonna lie, because Steven Nelson will probably get cooked by Odell. Now listen. I'm not saying Steven Nelson a bum. I'm not saying he ain't show up this year, but Odell is different, man. He different with the Rams, and then Van Jefferson is also playing well over there too. Second round
route
guy,
runner,
so
yeah.
They low key stacked. They low key stacked at the position. We got to be in sync, man. And we're not gonna play a bunch of man. So dudes just really got to hold their responsibilities to the zone for real, and play with anticipation. Just play zone, man. To avoid anybody chasing, you might got to just play a tight zone, bro.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, but like what the damage that Cooper Cup does in the middle, right? It's just wild. He definitely can't expect our linebackers to sit underneath them things. I think in that point, that's where the blitzing comes in. And again, you can't blitz all the time because especially, you blitz, you don't get there. It's normally trouble, especially when you got a receiving core like that and Cup is always open. But I do want to see a little bit as much like in certain spots. The Eagles have played more man in the last 3 to 4 games. Again, the competition has been more man friendly, right? We played heavier zones when we were doing what you said, right? We went against Patrick Mahomes and them guys. Kelsey, Hill, Nightmare, play zone. Cowboys, even though I hate them, Lamb, Cooper, Gallup wasn't there. Lamb, Cooper, play zone, right? Against the Chargers, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, play zone. So Buccaneers, when it was Mike Evans, AB, and Godwin, play zone. So we have to play some zone, and we always are. We've been more of a zone team, but I don't want to get away from the little man we play because the wrinkle of extra man has been throwing some of the guys off, and that is what the Ravens did. I went back and watched that game a little bit because I do low-key think we're going to play the Rams, even though I was kind of wanting the Bucks. Everything about the Bucks is enticing minus Tom Brady. Simple in that, you know what I mean? But it's tough. We got some wide receivers, whether it's the Bucks. Well, the Bucks are the least heaviest at the wide receiver because of the situation they're in.
So yeah, I think we match up well with the Bucks. Our defense, the Rams will give us some fits. Obviously, they can move a lot of guys around. Like you said, Dallas the same way. They don't move guys around a lot. For the most part, Lamb is going to be in the slot, but they did just lose Gallup, right? So they're still explosive though, and they like to show off against us. But I think we're up for that task this year. The Cardinals lost D Hop. If he come back, he ain't gonna be 100%. Do you know what I mean? The Packers can be explosive.
Yeah,
they can be explosive. Lazard and the rest of them guys. I didn't even talk about Adams. We know what he brings to the table, but they can be explosive. Robert Tunyon, they got some weapons over there, but it all circulates around. Like, if you can shut down Adams, if you could double team Adams, and them other guys can drop some passes too. Adams just ain't dropping nothing. So if you could take Adams out of the game and force Aaron Rodgers to force passes to Adams or go somewhere else, you know what I mean? You got a chance. But the Rams got the most firepower for sure. And when you talk a matchup wise for our defense.
Yeah. I agree. And as you started out this show with saying the Cardinals are really like a real nice fit because they're not super explosive in the run. And chat, if anybody in the chat knows what D Hop situation is he expected to come back via the playoffs? Let us know if you know. But shout out to Martin Perez with the 9.99 super chat. Yo, yo, yo. What to do, man? What do you think about the Eagles trying to pursue Calvin Ridley? I think it's a great idea. We did touch on that early, but since you super chatted, um, we're both in for it.
Yeah.
We believe if anybody can get somebody out of the headspace he was in, it's a guy who dealt with it himself and Lane Johnson. He's a top 10 receiver when healthy. He's a Bama boy. Offense will get extremely better. We'll think about giving a first round pick if it's one of them 19, 20 something, but we would try to finagle a second. Go ahead, take Jalen Reagor with the icing on top. You know what I mean? He's a real good kid.
Yeah, that Colts pick might move up if they don't make the playoffs, right?
Yeah. So we would try to
So
give our worst one. But now looking at this team, right, and how it came upon the 2-5 start and the 7-2 finish. If you had to pick the number one person that you believe really, who do you think changed the way they were playing more? Was it Hurts and him not hitting the panic button as much, starting to hit in the middle, you know, just making the right plays because he's been a lot better and he's even been more accurate. People low key not paying attention to how much more accurate he's been in the second half. Or do you think it was Nick Sirianni and just the game plan switch into the run game, which still, features Jalen Hurts, but also just his play call and all that? Do you think it was, his first year, everyone who was
I
more
think
responsible for the turnaround?
I think who's more responsible for the turnaround is probably the offensive line. I think as a collective group, the offensive line, and I think they're on record even saying this, they would tell him like, listen, these guys can't block us, keep running the ball. You know what
Lions
I mean?
game.
And
That's where it started.
right. And Lane Johnson, he knows he's smart. He's smart. They asked him in an interview recently, like, why is the run game so effective? And he said, because Jalen Hurts, because he can run. He adds an added dimension. You got to worry about him as well. So therefore, guys have to stay on the edge and blah, blah, blah. You know how that goes. So being as though these guys know their personnel and they know that nobody can block them, I think it was more of the offensive line showing Sirianni, like, listen, if you lean on us, Lane Johnson's been in the Super Bowl. Kelsey's been in the Super Bowl. These are legends in the city. You know what I mean? Stoutland has developed Jordan Mailata into one of the best left tackles in the National Football League.
From
The
scratch.
offensive line for the Philadelphia Eagles is so dominant, Mike, that you could plug and play certain positions and you don't lose a beat from week in and week out. These guys are in sync. Once they proved that, Sirianni felt like he could trust them, then he started to buy into it. So it's a combination of
Domino
offensive
effect.
line coach and Jalen Hurts using his skill set. But I think the offensive line, I got to give them the bulk of the credit. Even though Sirianni calls the plays and he switched it, the offensive line had to prove that you can lean on us and we're going to make some stuff happen. So I'm going to give all credit to the entire offensive line, for most of the turnaround.
Hey, that's good. And that's
And Hurts, fuck that. It's like, no, most of the offensive line.
he's like, you see the beanie,
Right.
Shout out to Kyron Clarkson with the $4.99 super chat. How do y'all think we should approach these playoff games? Obviously run first, then pass. I feel like Jalen has to take over these games with his feet. So what is your take, LB? We know it's the run first, then pass, but we haven't seen Jalen Hurts scramble as much. Now, he's been throwing some dots, and some of these dots are coming from plays that in week 3 he would have ran for 15, but now in week 16 he's thrown for 25. Do you see him in a pinch? Like, again, how do you think that ankle really feels, and just how much beat feet we're gonna see, Paul?
Well, I think the ankle, will get, he'll be 100% if you rest him this week.
Yeah.
I think going into the playoffs, I think you'll get, the best version of Jalen Hurts, and that's what you want. Now, as far as him having to use his feet, I don't think so. I think he gotta continue to develop and trust what he sees. Like you said, he's seen some running lanes, but he sat back like, I don't have to run. I can just wait for this guy to clear his zone and throw this dot. I'm talented enough to do that. He's starting to trust in his ability. So I just think he has to continue to do that. He's running at the right time and he's throwing at the right time. He just got to stay in this groove that he's in. You know what I mean? I don't want to put too much on him, but he's going to see Nick Sirianni is going to always call design runs for him to make the opposing defense remember you have to guard him. It's just a jab. It's just a setup for what's to come. You know what I mean? So I think he just got to continue to stay in rhythm. So I'm not going to say he got to pass more or run more. We're going to call run plays regardless. He just got to stay in a rhythm.
Yeah, but to Kyron's credit, right? He didn't take over the full game, but remember how we got that spark against Washington when we were looking a little bit, a couple drives, no points, that 3rd and 8, right? 3rd and 8, and Jalen Hurts took off for like that 20 piece, right? So pick your poisons when to have not just a first down run, but one of them explosive runs, because the team feeds off it. Jalen Hurts has one of them long scampers for 20, and then what comes after that? A nice dot to Quez or to Greg or to Devontae, because it's just flowing when the offense sees that. But I do like the fact that it's not only that he's not running, it's he's keeping his eyes down the field, because he's starting to really feel the Greg Wards, the Devontae Smith, the Quez Watkins, the Dallas Goddards. You can just see it. It's more of a, second nature. And watch the tape. I know my guy Gate City's talked to me yesterday and stuff. You can see progressions. You see the head turning.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going through. But when in doubt, if needed, that's where the athleticism comes in. That's where the playmaking, the red light goes off, and Jalen Hurts does Jalen Hurts type thing.
I'm seeing it a lot on the 3rd down too. Like, if it's
Big
nothing
play.
on 3rd down, he ain't going to force it if he could run and keep the chains moving. So he's being smart about it. I mean, that's when you probably should try to make a dash for it to keep a drive alive. You know what I mean? So he's being really, really smart and decisive, when he chooses to run the ball. And I like that about it right now.
True that. And I will say this. He's picking his runs at the right time. He's not running as much, whether it's in the design, it's in the growth, or a little bit of like, my ankle can, I need to let it heal up a little bit. Playoffs are around the corner. However, the design runs, which we still see, the little jab, Nick Sirianni is pulling back from it. Is it because of the ankle? Is it because he's realizing, hey, this is also my quarterback that's throwing dots? I'm not trying to let him take one of them big licks. Because you remember, this was early in the turnaround, but that Lions game, they might have called like 8 or 9 runs for Jalen on that one.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is because of the ankle, but also, he's been throwing the ball well since the Giants game. He's been throwing the ball well. That's the bottom line. He cooked Washington the first time. He barely ran the ball. He threw for almost 300 passing yards. You know what I mean? The second Giants game, they suck. So I mean, whatever happened to them happened to them. I don't even remember. I did a memory dump. I mean, they're the bottom. They're the bottomless pit of this division. And the last Washington game, he threw some dots, bro. I saw a franchise quarterback in that game. I saw arm angles. I saw a lot of stuff in that game. Now, the numbers wasn't crazy. He ain't over 400 yards, but the times he decided to throw the ball, it was just like everything was super, super accurate. It was nothing hitting the dirt, no overthrows. When he took deep shots, he's overthrowing people now with the deep ball. So everything is coming. I'm all for you overthrowing a guy on the deep ball. Just don't underthrow him. He's doing things, that I always knew he could do since the beginning of the season. So this playoff run is a little special for me, man, because I get to see my guy who I've been cheering for the whole season in the playoffs, man. That's all I wanted this season for real.
Youngest Eagles quarterback in franchise history. He's a little bit younger than Donovan. I just had to look it up because somebody was telling me he wasn't. But shout out to Asia Robinson. What happened?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, youngest Eagles quarterback. Shout out to Asia Robinson with the $10 super chat. The only cool Giants fan out there. Yo, what's good, Philly Mike? Congrats on the Eagles making the playoffs. You really overachieved expectations. By the way, RIP John Madden and Betty White. Hey, shout out to you, Asia, for sure. Let's get to these super chats real quick. We only got about 10 more minutes up on here before my wife kills me. Shout out to CJ Huggins with the $10 super chat. What's good, LB and Philly Mike? They counting us out like crazy, and it's disrespectful, to be honest.
It is disrespectful. I agree with you. Who else got our pedigree? Four straight times.
I knew it was coming.
Who else
Bring
got
it
that,
out.
Mike? Who else got that? You can't disrespect us, man. Four
Yeah.
times in the playoffs in the last 5 years. Tell me another team that did that. You got to talk about
One.
Belichick and them.
Well,
Who?
the Chiefs
Four?
since
Is it 4
Mahomes.
straight years?
They've been in the playoffs ever since Mahomes started, and they got one Super Bowl. So when did Mahomes come in to start?
That
That's the
might be
only.
three
Hey,
years.
but all right, but I'll be on the Chiefs record, right? I'll be
Right.
that's a good team to be around. That's Big
That's a
Red.
good pedigree. They
It
went
was
to
Big Green
back-to-back
back in the
Super
day.
Bowls.
Yeah,
So I ain't
and
mad
they
at
got some
that.
playoffs.
Yeah, I ain't mad at that. But come on, man. The disrespect towards the Eagles, especially, let's talk about our conference for a minute. How nobody got more playoff wins than
Playoffs.
us since 2000. You know what I mean? We are the cream of the crop of our conference. No matter how you want to slice it, cut it, no matter whatever you say, we the cream of the crop. It's us, it's Green Bay, and it might be Seattle. Everybody else, they just visiting.
They
That's the
visit the
bottom
winning
line.
section. Yeah,
You know what I mean? They just visiting. We are in the winning slot when you're talking about the NFC. So the disrespect that's put on our name, I think, is just, the media and how they know that we're going to react to it. If we ignore them, maybe they'll stop. You know what I mean?
oh yeah. But we definitely let them get their clicks. But this is the one thing I like though about them always counting us out. Sometimes I think other teams and other coaches look at it too, like that's what they got there. But when they take that jab, as you said, they'll wake up quickly. But I will say this: a lot of people talk to me all through the offseason and even early in the season, and they kept asking me, "Why do you think the Eagles are going to be good this year? You don't have no evidence, right? Knew this, knew that, knew this, knew that." Well, I always went back to what you said, the O line. I went back to the core guys, but I also went back to the history. Jeff Lurie, love him or hate him, he knows how to pick a first-year head coach. Name the first-year head coach that didn't do some type of well for the Eagles. Chip Kelly's a weirdo. Got us 10 games. Doug turned it around, and then rookie quarterback to then next year's Super Bowl. So what the Eagles won 4 games last year. And when other teams win 4 games, I think they're going to be stuck around 4 or 5 for a while. The Eagles don't stay down long. We don't.
Yeah.
Chip ruined us. Well, we rebuilt it with Doug. Andy Reid at the bottom kind of hurt us at the end. We rebuilt it with Chip. Like, we go down for a little bit, but we stay up for a while. So we on the up, and that means the rest is the while. So, don't act like, let's get used to this, because playoffs are back in the city of brotherly love with 2 new guys who are so young. See, this is the thing. The growth we saw from the quarterback and the coach, people expect them, new coach, new quarterback. By December, they better be ready to put their resumes for the Hall of Fame. They're about to retire. No, they're just scratching the surface. Nick's going to get better in decision-making. Jalen's going to get better.
Let me ask you this. Do you think Nick deserves, Coach of the Year consideration?
Consideration, yes. I just saw Brian Flores. So the turnaround that Miami did, how is it any different than us?
He's getting consideration?
He's in the consideration list, yeah.
Like the top 10?
Yeah, same with
Wow.
What's his name? Dang.
And they 8-8, and they're eliminated.
Yo, consideration better be Nick. I'm not saying he got to win it, because you got to look at Matt LaFleur, even though you can maybe discount it because Aaron Rodgers there, he made Mike McCarthy look good and whatnot. There's a lot of different things. I can't automatically give you the resume why he should win it, but in consideration, of course.
Especially if he finished this thing 10-7.
Yes.
I mean, if he finishes this thing 10-7, it's a no-brainer. I think he should be one of the finalists. He was 2-5, man.
Big time.
He was 2-5. He's the best off-season hire of any first-year head coach last year. Period.
Yeah. Right now that we're tied record-wise with the Chargers, right? What were the Chargers' aspirations, though? They're supposed to be they were supposed to be guaranteed playoff contenders. Playoff spot.
Right. You got Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, Herbert. Everybody's already hailing him a generational talent.
Correct. So the only thing you had to really see there was, can the coach do it? Because they already believed in their quarterback, right?
Bro,
Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts had to prove themselves, and they did it together. So
exactly.
Listen, all I can know is this: the Eagles were 4-11-1, and under the new coach and quarterback tandem, year 1, without spending money, because we went to the dollar store to get Eric Wilson, to get Anthony Harris, to get Steven Nelson. These are dollar store purchases. But guess what? Next year, Howie Roseman ain't going to dollar store. He's
Nah,
going
he
to
not.
he's going to Nike. He's going to Adidas. He's going to Under Armour. He's going to the big boy stores to pick up stuff when we get the $34 million off the cap and whatnot. Remember, these were dollar store purchases that we got in free agent. And Nelson did a good job for what we paid him. Harris is doing okay. You got to look at the dollar and the production. But we about to go big boy shopping soon.
I think so too, and I think some of these dudes actually earn themselves another year or two. For real, for real. I think some of these dudes actually, because Howie Roseman's that cheap. That's some at least one of them is going to get extended. Anthony
Yeah.
Harris has been playing pretty good.
In the
He's been
second half,
hitting
yeah.
everything. You know what I mean? He's been playing good. So I can't wait to see how that turn out.
Yeah. Shout out to Martin Perez with another $5 super chat. Is it just me or do you guys also worry about Alex Singleton being on the field? Because I worry every time I see him man on a tight end.
Yeah, I worry he can't cover. He can't cover, but for some reason, he got a pick six each of the last 2 years. I don't know how that happens, but he can't. I worry about him because he can't cover and he over pursues a lot. But in run defense, he's pretty valuable. He's a great rotational linebacker. He just shouldn't be a guy that should be on the field every play. You know what I mean? I don't think he'd be on the field as much if Davion Taylor didn't go down.
Yeah, Davion Taylor was definitely that was a thing, right? When it was in the beginning of the season, when it was Eric Wilson and Alex Singleton as your 1-2 punch, we were getting absolutely destroyed. Once we made the move to let go of Eric Wilson to pull Nate, I almost said Nate Gary, to pull Alex Singleton back a little bit and let it be TJ Edwards and Davion Taylor, things started to change. Now, when Taylor went down, Alex Singleton got back up. But that little bit of benching, and also the fact that we keep Jannard Avery on the field too, and sometimes it's Avery and Edwards in our nickel packages when Maddox on the field. I think when you put Alex Singleton in a limited role, as LB said, he plays better.
Yeah,
Because he is a smaller guy. He's that guy who has to exert a lot more to do what other guys to do less than other guys got to do. So when he's in there for packages and you're getting a fresh one every down, he's pretty decent for his name. But when he's out there running all day, every day, he starts to get run over easily.
does he lead our team in tackles again?
He was. I don't know about since he got pulled back out, but it was only for a limited time. Davion Taylor went down quickly. That's his biggest problem. He keeps getting nicked up. So
I think Alex Singleton will be really productive in a more aggressive defense that blitzes more. I think if you put him in a defense like that, he'll be more productive. But we asked our linebackers to cover a lot, so somebody's gonna get burned.
correct. And I need JG to keep sending them linebacker blitzes. But TJ Edwards, he's definitely been a nice shocker. Just sitting there, right? Sitting behind guys that he should have never been sitting behind in the beginning. I think under Doug, TJ Edwards couldn't stay healthy. And so far, knock on fake wood, he's healthy. But this coaching staff didn't give him the nod to get the start early.
And he's more than healthy. He's he's a defensive captain out there. They're saying he's calling signals for the front end and the back end of the defense. I mean, he's proved valuable. He got an extension. You know what I mean? He's proven himself to be valuable for the organization, and he's a part of the turnaround as well. Once we switched up the linebacking core, the defense kind of settled, and it's been, you gotta, it's been a lot, man. Practice squad guys, Jordan Howard. There's so many guys that are a part of this turnaround. Darius Slay's a part of it. The energy that he brings with his turnovers that he creates, scoring and all of that stuff. I mean, it's been a lot of key things. And McLeod, interception each of the last 2 games. Like, guys are coming alive and they making plays.
Yeah. And some of these guys might be on their last hurrah. That's for the all season to talk about. But I'm seeing team football being played out there, and that's what you want. And like you said, we got still Super Bowl champions on this team. And when in doubt, you want to go off the emotions of the game, the highs and the lows you want to keep in check. And ain't if the defense got it right with Fletch out there. As much as we hate Barnett and he's a knucklehead, he got that out there too. Just a way to say when Jalen Reagor was asked about being able to take the booze, right? Derek Barnett offered us some wise words. He said, "Listen, you gotta be okay with their booing because you know why? Because that shows they care. When they stop booing you, then they don't care, right? You're just a lost cause."
The Jets. I mean, like MetLife MetLife is just abysmal. It's abysmal. They
My
got
brother's a
two
Jets
teams that
fan too.
do nothing but lose in the same building. It's
Yeah, that's
horrible.
bad. That's bad.
You know what I mean? It's so I don't like to keep taking shots at these guys, but
I do.
they're they're a sad fan base. They're a
Yeah,
sad fan base, man. But yeah, man. One
mm,
last thing, because I know we coming up on on our hour. Howie Roseman deserves a ton of credit, Mike.
he does.
A ton of credit, man. People are mad at me because then I think 2 videos ago I was like, bro, I forgive him. I was like, I forgive him because the 3 first-round picks you got in the bag. You rebuilt the team in a rebuild year. You know what I mean? This was supposed to be like, let's see how this goes type of thing. He's done so much, man. The guys he's extended have been valuable. Maddox has been playing really, really well.
Sweat.
Sweat. Every time I turn around, Sweat is sacking somebody. You know what I mean? Landon Dickerson, he was thought to be a project, but he turned out to be a solid piece to help fortify this offensive line. Not only, did he get Carson Wentz off the books, he'll be off the books eventually, but he successfully drafted his replacement. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And then you got another backup quarterback in Gardner Minshew, who you probably can get a 3rd-round pick for.
You could probably flip it. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
Howie Roseman is a top 10 GM in this game. We might not respect him as Eagles fans, but the rest of the National Football League respects Howie Roseman. You know
Correct.
what I mean? I will say that the rest of the league respects Howie Roseman, and he's another guy that you got to say is responsible for this, man, because he loaded up the practice squad with guys like Jordan Howard. He's done so much, so you got to give Howie his respect.
Yeah, I agree. This is my thing with Harry Roseman. I think, real quick, shout to Marcus King because he's spitting up but facts. Happy wife, happy
Facts.
life. But you know, what I mean, she's cool. You know, what I mean, she gave me actually a little longer. I just got to get something done before I get to her. But it's all good. But to go on Howie Roseman, um, he set us up great,
Yeah.
great. And I know Lori is the bigger one when it comes to picking coaches, but I guarantee Lori listens to Howie and they both talk about it. So just to set up from a 4-1, a 4-11-1 letdown is the biggest turnaround you're going to see in a while, right? With just winning from what you already acquired and having so much ammunition, whether it's draft and capital. And people always hate how we kick the can down the road. He does it so methodically. He does, because you automatically hear restructure. You think, well, dang, now we're going to be broke later. Not necessarily, because there's ways to restructure money where Jeff Lurie takes a hit in a pocket and it doesn't touch our books. Now,
Hmm.
some money will touch our books. And the problem with that is when you kick the can down the road, you have to do it on the right players, right? If a guy's 29 and you think by 31, 32, you're still going to get production, you can kick the can to where his heavier money hits at 31, 32. What stinks is if by 31, 32, he stinks, then you're overpaying for a guy who's not producing. So you got to pick your poison on it. But it's not always just putting the big money in the front to the end. You can put it in some roster bonuses and some blah, blah, blah. You just got to have an owner who's always willing to ball. And Jeff Lurie's never been afraid to spend money on a team as long as it's going to get him better. Howie Roseman, free agency, trades, cap, I always love him. It's
Yeah.
only been the draft, but I will come back and say this: 2018 looking like a beautiful one. 2020 looking real good. Even Milton Williams popping up. He got the same amount of sacks as Derek Barnett, and he
Yeah.
played less snaps. Last but not least, the reason I can't fully I give Howie flowers, but what I need him to do is not just get me the picks. I need him to crush this one. He crushed this one, and it's over. I'm never going to talk about Howie again for a while because no GM hits everybody. The guy that drafted DK Metcalf for Seattle, that was a great one, but he has some bad ones too. So the Rager and the Andre Dillard that is hovering over him, the Derek Barnett maybe, he got some hovering, but I don't care about the pass anymore. If football is a what have you done for me lately, playing and signing. And so you got me 3 first-round picks. Man, if he goes out and if this defense gets loaded the way it could be, or he snags a Calvin Ridley, or he signs a Mike Williams, or
Hmm.
I'll judge him after this offseason. But he set the offseason up in the A plus. Now all he gotta do, or in the A, now all he gotta do is slap that plus next to it.
Yeah, I mean, how many franchises, or GMs can go 4-11-1, get rid of their franchise quarterback, and then make the playoffs the next year? It's not likely, man. It's
It's
not
not.
likely to go 4-11-1 and go through a quarterback change and didn't make the playoffs. You know what I mean? With a guy that's already on your team, that you drafted already. Usually, if something like this was to happen, that team let go of their franchise guy for another franchise guy that's already proven. But this is a
Or they're
situation.
ready to go for a long rebuild.
Exactly, exactly. Howie Roseman, man, he did this off the muscle, man. He went to the
Eli
dollar
Manning,
store.
Eli Manning left the Giants, and they started out 0-5 for the last 3 years.
Exactly. And Eli Manning was on his last leg.
Yeah, they
You know what I
held
mean?
on to him long. But I'm saying, there's been teams that once they become bad, they're bad for a while. Washington, Giants, Jets, Miami was bad for years before they got good. Cleveland was bad for years. Lions are still bad. The Raiders, when they were Oakland, they went a decade of losing, right? When
Hmm.
teams go down to that 3-4 win status, they stay there for at least a nickel piece, sometimes a dime piece. We
Yeah,
only do
yeah.
1 year and we out on good behavior.
You know what I mean? And that's it's just it's not likely, man. That's what I'm saying, man. And then then you did it with a first year head coach. I
And a
mean,
first year
it's
starter.
ridiculous. Very impressive season for the Philadelphia Eagles, man. That's the bottom line, from top to bottom, from ownership to draft decisions. Jalen Hurts not only is just an all around fucking star, bro. All around star.
I like
Railings
it.
fall, he picking people up. He probably kissing babies right now, signing autographs. The dude is just all around star, man. And I think we nailed it with a lot of these character guys, man. And I think that's gonna go a long way with us.
Yeah. I mean, JJ Arcega-Whiteside, he's a really good dude too.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
yeah,
Like I said, for the people in there that still talk about Howie, look, again, we know where Howie's problems are. We do. But this is the thing. Just because he has one problem, you can't forget that other people are not finagling the cap like that. Look around the league. Other teams do it, but I would say about there's still like 10 to 12 teams that are still playing old school cap ball, right? Not many people are pulling trades and freeing up cap. Like I said, if in a perfect world, I would try to get someone to work with Howie in the draft. And I would hope that Lori, not just Howie, and Howie and Lori say, you know what, we are paying bread to these scouts. They're doing what they, just make it more of a group decision, which I think 2020 was. I think 2020 was more of a group decision, even though he was slapping Donahan's hand away and all that stuff. But look at all I'm saying is this for the people who hate Howie Roseman. He set you up good. He got three players on. I'm trying to make an MLB reference. Ready? Three runners on base, right? All bases loaded, right? That's how much MLB I watch. All we needed Howie Roseman to do is to hit the home run now, right? He
that's
got
it.
three guys on base. Three guys on base.
That's it.
Howie's up. So right now, I'm cheering Howie, Howie. Now, if he hits it and it gets caught, well, then I'm back mad at him. But if he hits it out the park, because he has a chance with 3 first-round
I
picks.
got a bold prediction for this draft. I feel like Howie Roseman is going to use 2 of the first round picks and trade another one for a player, or kick it down to next year's draft to have 2 first round picks in that draft as well.
It's so loaded on the defensive side. Like, this is a really tough defensive class.
I
I
think we
mean,
go linebacker. I think this is the year we also draft a linebacker in the first round.
yeah, it hasn't been done since the 70s.
Right. I think this is the year we do it.
I think it's going to be edge rusher. I would have, if you get the edge rusher first, which I think that's up Howie's sleeve because offensive line, defensive line, he loves it. If he gets that guy from Michigan, Adobu or whatever,
Yeah.
I'm cool. So if he goes edge rusher, you can flip flop corner, linebacker, corner, whatever is best player available at that position. But I think that's what we need. Somebody in the secondary, somebody in the linebacker, somebody on the line. Offense has more of the young heads, so you can touch that in the second, the third with more offensive linemen. Blah 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 blah. Runner back later or whatever you want to do, depending if you sign Miles. We gotta talk about that later too. But for sure, you got to crush his defense. There's just too many studs in the top
Yeah.
25.
I agree. Wholeheartedly, man. I agree.
With that being said, we got 370 in the chat, 8 o'clock on a Thursday. There's no more Thursday night football because it's playoff time around here.
Right.
Saturday game, I'll be live for it. I might be falling asleep if if we getting blown out because of our backups being in it. But what you got going on for the week, LB, or the
I don't got
rest?
nothing going on. I might try my hand at live streaming this game on Saturday as well. I'll see how that goes. I only do it like 3 or 4 times a season because I'd be
Yeah.
so in tune for the game. But being as though this game doesn't mean nothing, man, I probably just kick back, have a drink and just watch it. But the content is just going to keep coming out, man. I got lunchtime with the bullies tomorrow. Goat talk. For the playoff week, the actual playoff week will be on my channel. So I don't know how I
Yeah.
got that lucky to get the
I
playoff
know.
week. So
So we gotta win, so I can just get some of this legit playoff good talk,
exactly. So
right?
you could get the next playoff
Yeah.
week. So yeah, man, nothing, man. Oh, I'm trying to put together a panel for next week. So I'm gonna try to see if I can get me, you, Philly 500, and I got to think of the fourth guy that I'm trying to bring on. Obviously another Eagles content creator. I just want to get the overall state of the Eagles community. You know what I mean, and how we feeling going into this playoff matchup. Maybe you know what? Maybe I'll get Joe. Maybe I'll get Joe Castro.
There you go.
I get Joe Castro because Joe. I was looking at Joe video the other day. Joe up there, man. He like, look, man. I was right and wrong about Jalen Hurts. I love that video. He said I was right and wrong. So
He got us to the
I'm gonna
playoffs,
get Joe.
but I got us to the playoffs, but right.
Right. Yeah, I got to get Joe too. So maybe I'm gonna see what y'all guys got going on. I'm gonna text 500. I ain't work with him in a minute. So yeah, man. I want to hear from you guys, man. It's the playoffs, bro. It's the
Yeah, it's the
playoffs.
playoffs. Yeah, man. I'm gonna see what we can do too. There's a lot of young content creators out there. You know what I mean?
Facts.
We definitely figure something out to maybe who knows what we could do. We got some time. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I had got to get with my wife and get the scheduling and all that. You know what I mean? Got kids too. But until next time. We gonna talk about Dallas. We gonna talk when it gets to the best part of this week is finding out the legit opponent so we can go to
Facts.
battle mode, strategy mode. Nick Sirianni can get cooking up some stuff on the typewriter,
Hmm.
old school style.
Right. I agree. Let's get it.
And until next time, y'all know what time it is. We are out.
Yes, sir.
Peace.